Boom, everybody. Welcome to another Evening With. It is February 26th, 2024. It is, 6:02 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is a very exciting Evening With because this is somebody that I remember watching years and years ago on the Screen Junkies channel. That was my introduction to him on a phenomenal show called Movie Fights that just takes that love that we all share for the cinema and pits people against each other. I love the concept of it. I've been kind of marathoning some of the episodes, and in fact some of those episodes I have linked down below. I have one episode every season that Hal was featured in. And if you want to check those out, feel free to click the link in the description, as well as his Instagram is linked down below if you want to give him a follow. And so we're going to get into it all tonight. We're going to get into the Screen Junkies history. We're going to talk about his time there. We're going to talk about what he's doing now with Tournament of Nerds. It's just a really exciting time tonight here on Fans of Something. So before we bring him in, because I do want to play this clip really quickly. This is probably one of the best things you're ever going to see. This is probably one of the best moments of Hal on Movie Fights. This is, I believe, season 1. So it's at the very, very beginning when the show started. And it is, I believe he's talking about the Hobbit trilogy versus the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And it's just a phenomenal moment. We're going to play it real quick. I'm sure Hal doesn't mind. It's just it's so funny. I love this. Hopefully you guys get a kick out of it as well. And then we're going to bring Hal in and we're going to get this thing rocking. So let me play the.
I never said I was a film purist. Don't put words in my mouth, Hal. But I'm saying
you are far from a film purist.
You got to let the man talk, Hal.
And, were there any moments in the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit trilogy that you liked? Any moments, scenes where you were like, that was good? None. Zero.
I never said that.
But I'm saying if they suck, that means you didn't like any. And if you liked any...
Hey, a man in jail can even smile once in a while.
That was actually pretty funny.
And right there, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's a better way we could bring in our next guest of honor, if I can do this correctly here. Let me bring him in here, and we're going to get talking about Movie Fights with Mr. Hal Rudnick.
Hello.
There he is, man. Okay, so watching that clip, what comes back? Like, when was the last time you even maybe potentially watched that?
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I do remember the quote and the moment. And, what comes to mind is how disappointed I was with Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy. It was just they tried to wring a lot of content out of that slim book, and you kind of felt it. Great looking movies, but that was a fun back and forth with Jeremy there, he's great. Got to work with a lot of fun people. And yeah, that was way back in the day when we were shooting them with Christian Harloff and the Schmoes, and those were good times.
Yeah, I mean, that was I watched that episode a couple nights ago and just stumbled upon it, and I was like, immediately, because I mean, obviously the whole room erupted into laughter, and you had so many moments like that in the history of the run of that show, where you would just say things that just kind of cut everybody, and everybody lost it, and I'm pretty sure that's why you kept coming back, on top of just being a part of the Screen Junkies team to begin with, right?
Yeah, it was a great venue because I love movies, and I also love making people laugh. So when I can combine the two things, it was a joy for me. And sometimes for the inside baseball thing is sometimes you really have to dial it up,
right?
And exaggerate your opinion a little bit, but yeah, I wasn't exaggerating that much though in regards to The Hobbit. Those movies rubbed me the wrong way, because I guess I was expecting so much after Lord of the Rings.
Right, right.
But yeah, I had yeah, that was a great show to be a part of, going from being a contestant and crafting my arguments, which I probably took too seriously. There was, nothing really, what was on the line, bragging rights. And, but I'm a competitive person by nature. And yeah, I would stay up the night before or get up that morning and like really just pour over my arguments, make sure I had bullet points, and then at a certain point I knew, oh, I had to really step my game up, because you can't just speak in broad general terms. You have to get in there with the specifics. You have to have the moments nailed down. You have to rewatch stuff, or at least read the Wikipedia pages.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And then sometimes, in case anyone's unfamiliar with the show, devil's advocate would come into play. And
Yes.
you would have to kind of, if two or multiple players of that round agreed on unanimously, then somebody had to play devil's advocate and fight the other way around. And those were some of the more entertaining ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you'd have to take an opinion that you didn't even agree with, but the key is selling it.
Yep.
There was so much so. Sometimes you'd have to argue for something that you haven't seen, and just essentially feign having seen the movie or TV show. I'll give you an example. I In TV fights hosted by, this is breaking news. I don't know if I've ever admitted this to anyone, Eddie. Excuse me. TV fights hosted by Roxy Stryer, who's terrific. I had to argue on behalf of Freaks and Geeks, and I won this argument, but I've never seen Freaks and Geeks. And I know it's one of the most beloved short-lived shows of all time. It was a one and done, one season, and a lot of great actors, talented folks came out of that, and Judd Apatow, et cetera. But I hadn't seen it. That's remiss of me as a consumer of pop culture. But I chose to argue on behalf of it, and it was all about crafting a good argument and doing it passionately.
Yep.
Getting specific and being passionate, putting those two things together will get you out of some dark and lonely nights.
That's well, and then you said like pretty much it was just pride and kind of like owning the moment of winning the round, but eventually at some point the belt came along, the movie
Yes.
fights belt, and so that was up for grabs, and that kind of made it probably a little more appetizing to try to really.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was hard getting that thing out of Dan Murrell's hands.
Yep.
Dan was a master at not just movie fights, but also movie trivia with the movie trivia Schmodown, if you're familiar with that. So yeah, he had his knowledge really on lock there. Really strong stuff.
Yep. Now, we'll get back into the Screen Junkie stuff, but for myself and some other people that might not be totally familiar with the lead up, because I mean, you weren't just born on Screen Junkies. There was a whole, probably a whole, journey to that. Cliff noting that, if you can, what are some of the highlights of your journey from wherever you started to when you ended up at Screen Junkies? What was the goal that you had in mind for your life, I guess, is the question.
Sure. Oh my goodness. Leave the world a better place than I found it. I would try to put something positive in the world. But overall, in regards, I've always loved movies. My father gave me an education on cinema growing up. Oftentimes, much to my chagrin, like I'd want to go out and play with my friends or ride bikes or something, but he'd say, sit down, you're going to watch Shane, starring Alan Ladd, directed by George Stevens, starring Van Heflin as well. He loved the Western Shane, which is cited, and it's playing actually as an homage in the movie Logan, the
Okay.
great Wolverine movie. Shane, when they're in a hotel in Vegas, they're watching Shane, and it kind of echoes some of the sentiment of the old gunslinger, which at that point Logan was sort of this, this older fighter on the backside of his career and life there.
Right.
So my dad used to show me a ton of old movies, everything from film noirs to musicals, from just the golden era of Hollywood, 1940s, 50s, 60s. And I appreciate it now. Didn't appreciate it as much back then when I wanted to go out and play. And then I went to film school, and I've loved movies and comedy, making people laugh. So I've been doing comedy from, actually since I was real little. I would be writing comedy sketches and performing and doing that as much as wherever I could get up on stage. And I went to film school and at Penn State, Pennsylvania, and then I came out to Los Angeles, and I was doing comedy and performing, and then doing some writing gigs and acting roles, and I got into the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild, and all the while I was, still a huge movie fan, and this opportunity came along with Screen Junkies, and yeah, I got the opportunity to host this YouTube show, which gave me so many cool moments and opportunities. And it was just one of the great experiences, being a part of Screen Junkies. I got to travel all over the world for crazy movie junkets and stuff like that. They sent me to Japan, to Tokyo, London, Paris. So a lot of really fun, exciting moments. I got to meet some super cool people, and so yeah, it was quite an experience.
But you say Screen Junkies came along, like, was it a like a casting call in a way?
It was. I got it through my agent. So I had to write like 3 rants and come in and speak passionately about these various subjects. And I know at least one of them was about Die Hard being a Christmas movie, which is sort of at this point, that seems like a, played out topic, but it was a little fresher back then. And about 12 years ago or so, when I jumped into the Screen Junkies world. So yeah, I prepared this material. I went in. Screen Junkies was owned by Break Media at that point, and they've since gone through at least 3 different incarnations of owners. Now it's kind of just the Honest Trailers branding that's associated with Screen Junkies, and it's all owned by Fandom, who runs a lot of the pop culture wiki pages and stuff like that. And but yeah, I was hired there, and then it was a really exciting, give or take 8 to 10 year journey. So many fun times at cons, Comic-Con, Wizard World, Dragon Con, Wizard Dragon Con, Hero Con, Hero Dragon World, Wizard Hero Con. And if you take those words and just interchange them, you will have a
right. That's how that works. That's so cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have a memory. Were you auditioning, or were you on America's Got Talent at some point?
Yes, I was. So that was a crazy experience. So I did this character. His name's Eric Jennifer, and he's the good boy of comedy. And he is this character who he's kind of a failure to launch, never really got his life together, and lived at home with his mom. And he would do stand-up comedy on the bus and at the laundromat. And so I brought this character. I was asked by a producer who saw me do the character live to audition for America's Got Talent. I came down and I did it, and it was a great experience. It was a surreal experience. One of the things about that was slightly disappointing was that I got to be on the show twice, perform twice, but they only aired one, and it was the one that went so for me. Whereas the first time I was on, it killed. Like I moved past the first round, but they never aired it, and the producer then said to me later that the network came back to them and said, "Oh, be careful with this character. It's a little edgy. It's a little, yeah, it's a little, I don't know, hot for TV or something." Because he was this character. He would talk about like overcoming certain crazy moments with family members, and it got like pretty raw and weird, some of the stuff he was talking about, but the audience responded to it. I had a lot of fun playing that character in sketch comedy and stuff as well, at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Los Angeles, which is a big comedy theater. A lot of prominent comedy folks have come out of there.
Yeah. See, well, because what's interesting about that is it seems like a lot of because America's Got Talent does the because I auditioned for it. They do the like open auditions, right?
Yes.
They travel around the country and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always had an inkling, and you kind of just drove it home there, that a lot of the people that at least end up on the TV side of it, on the actual show, they're probably not. I would be curious to see what the percentages of the people that auditioned the way I auditioned versus something like your case where you're just doing this out there. A producer happens to see it and invites you to audition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I know a lot of friends and peers in the comedy world who have had that opportunity. So yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag. But it is crazy how there are groups from like all over. I met when I was on the show, I met people from all over the world, all over the country, who brought their various talents and expertise.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I was a little because it was the year after Shin Lim won, who was a magician.
Okay.
And that was what I was doing back in the day. I was heavy into the magic, and so I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." Probably thinking in the back of my head, like, what are the odds that they even want a magician? Like, and if they do,
Sure.
they probably want somebody that's 10 times even better than what he is.
What were some of your big tricks, Eddie?
I forget the one I did because I took it as a sign. My birthday is November 2nd, and my audition was on November 2nd. I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. And went into a big room with just like it was like at a convention center in Tampa, Florida.
Yes.
And just went into a big room, and they had just one little section of that room for this, and the whole rest of it was empty. And it was a producer, quote unquote. I'm not entirely sure how true that is. And it was just a cameraman, and they were like, all right, do your thing. And I did a card trick. I forget, obviously, that was years ago. I forget what the card trick was, but again, they probably wanted something a little more elaborate than what I was offering, but never heard from them.
Some of the magic stuff I see them do, it's like, especially like the season when I was on, they were having some real David Blaine level stuff, like people getting buried alive and all sorts of wild things happen. I used to do magic back in the day. Like I talked about how I started performing very early on. I think maybe my first ever performance, I was at summer camp, and I have a picture of it from when I was probably 7 years old, and I have this sign. I'm holding up a sign that says "This way to Hal's Magic Show."
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
now, whatever that was, some people do that, and it happens on their screen. I don't know why. Like, I think if you hold a like thumbs up.
Oh. Wait, is that through StreamYard?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, StreamYard. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens, but like it doesn't happen on my end, so I don't know. Are you on your phone or something?
No, I'm on my laptop.
I couldn't tell. Well, is it a Apple laptop?
Yes,
That might
yes.
be you. Yeah, that might be why.
Gotcha. Yeah. How do I disable that? That can get
A little annoying.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Magic was, I mean, it still is like I'm still like I still watch it. I still like to watch, Blaine. Like, he's still going strong. And
Hmm.
I saw Chris Angel a couple times when I went out to Vegas years ago. And yeah, like I still love to do it, but I kind of fell out of it. And but yeah, like when I initially thought to reach out to have you on, and then when you said yes, I was like, hold on, there's a core memory I'm not remembering about Hal at the moment, because obviously I think movie fights. And then I was
Hmm.
like, hold on, wait. And then I had to do like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast, and I was like, I'm I'm fairly accurate. I could be making this up, but I swear I saw him on America's Got Talent at one point.
Oh yeah, and I was promoting that a lot. Yeah, it was a crazy time. I was disappointed with the outcome, and that they, especially that they didn't show the first performance because it went so well. But
Did you
it was.
anticipate to like go all the way?
I'm sorry.
Did you anticipate to go all the way, like to the end?
I thought this character could have some legs, especially when I got out of that first round. I was like, wow, anything's possible now. I was, it would have been fun to keep going. But at the end of the day, it was a cool bucket list thing. It was very surreal to be judged by Simon Cowell
Right.
and that whole gang. So yeah, and not to make any excuses, but I was very sick the week I performed. The day I performed, I was yeah, I was. It was like kind of a bizarre happenstance how that all came together in the same week that I was scheduled to do my second performance. But again, it was just a wild experience.
100%. Absolutely. Um, do you have any like, because I mean that show is still literally going. Like I don't ever see that show not going. It's just it's continuously on the air. Do you ever like anticipate maybe kind of reworking the character, bringing it back?
Well, actually, I just I've and I can send you that. I don't know if I send you something via uh, Instagram right now, would you have the ability to play it on this
I
uh,
I think I could, yeah.
on our live stream?
Yeah.
Because I took a version of that character. I
Okay.
basically, Eddie, I'm going to admit something very shameful to you right now.
Okay.
I plagiarized myself, if that's possible.
You plagiarized yourself.
Yes. So I took my own character and I reworked it and I turned it into something else. And I currently host and write for Roku and Pluto TV for a channel called Always Funny, and I do a lot of work for them. And I recently wrote two Super Bowl specials that aired Super Bowl weekend, and there were two 1 hour specials. And this character that I did during these specials was essentially my Eric Jennifer character,
Okay.
but retooled and repurposed. Okay, here we go. Finding
Yeah.
it, I'm sending it to you now. It's a 1 minute clip.
Okay. I'm just logging in because I don't actually have my account logged in on this computer.
All right, just sent it to you, Eddie.
Okay. Yep, I got it on my phone. So let me pull it up here.
Sorry to make you do extra.
It's all good. I love seeing
But
this.
you're asking about bringing him back, and it's like, well, I kind of just did. And he's a character that he did for a long time. I loved doing Eric Jennifer. He's sort of like the manifestation of my inner child.
Oh, nice.
He's a real sweetheart.
I love that. Plagiarized myself. I've never heard
Yes.
that. I've never heard that before. I'm gonna
I think that's the
actually
only person you can safely plagiarize.
see if I can send this to.
Yeah, if not, no worries.
Or actually, you know what? I'm just gonna show it on the. I'll just show it on the thing. Because that's probably easier.
Sure.
Let me know if. All right. How do I play this?
Are you just going to hold the phone up?
Yeah, I figured just hold the phone up, right?
Yeah. Listen, screw it. Do it live.
Hi, everyone.
All right. Is it playing? Why is it not playing? Technical difficulties. Hold on. We got this. All right, now it's playing. No, it's not playing.
All right, Eddie. No worries.
Hi, everyone.
There we go.
I'm Cousin Charles, Hal's cousin. I love animals. Hooray! In football, a lot of teams are named after animals. That's cool. But some of those animals are too scary. Lions, scary. Bears, scary. Eagles, can you imagine a big eagle swooping down out of the sky on you? Caw-caw, caw-caw, scary. So here's my list of cute animals that deserve to be team mascots. The Chicago Chinchillas. What a sweet fuzzball. Cute. The Seattle Baby Frogs. Those are some little cute green guys. Count me in. The Philadelphia Tiny Monkeys in Diapers. That's a very good team name. And is there anything cuter than a tiny monkey in a diaper? No way, Jose. Those are just a few of the animals I thought of. So please, football bosses, make my great ideas happen. Thank you.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the impression that Pee Wee Herman is like a big.
I love Pee Wee. I
Pee
love
Wee,
Pee
right?
Wee. R.I.P. Paul Rubens passed away last year. Pee Wee's Big Adventure is one of my all-time favorite movies, Eddie. I love the world that was created by Tim Burton and Paul Rubens there, and absolutely an influence. Very perceptive.
Yeah, well, it's because it's like a man-child thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's essentially what it is.
Exactly.
That's the plagiarized version of what was on AGT.
Yes, that's me taking my former character, and like I posted it on Facebook, and one of my friends commented, who knew my character from way back when, something like, Eric Jennifer is going to send you a cease and desist.
Well, that would be funny if you send yourself, but like you film it, you work it into a skit somehow, like you cease and desist yourself.
Yeah, maybe I can do that as some sort of viral publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Comedian sues himself.
So that's sort of the Cliff Notes version. Obviously, your life is vast. You have many years of leading up to all that stuff, and everybody that knows you is probably most familiar with you from Screen Junkies. One of the questions, because the Evening With show is usually a predetermined set of questions that we have to kind of kick things off. So this one is just very interesting because I've never seen this name before. Right down here, Rudnick. I've never come across another Rudnick in my whole life. So the first question is, where the hell did Rudnick come from?
That's a good question. Eastern Europe, it's like the derivation. There's some like Polish, Czech, Russian. So yeah, I think my brother did 23andMe. I have not sent my DNA over to any of the any of the DNA collectors that run the Ancestry or 23andMe. But although, have you ever seen that show on PBS with Henry Louis Gates?
What's it called?
It's something like Tracing Your Ancestry or Ancestry or yeah. But Henry Louis Gates is this host, and he gets all walks of celebrity on there to go down their rabbit hole and trace their genealogy, and it can be fascinating. If I ever got a call, if I was ever fortunate enough to get the call from Henry Louis Gates, then I would absolutely, that'd be hard to turn down. But yeah, but my brother did our genealogy and traced everything back to pre Ellis Island and with with our family and yeah, mainly yeah, it's Eastern European and yeah, that's it. Rudnick.
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 Rudnick. But
Yeah.
obviously over here we're like Rudnick.
Oh yeah, that's what I prefer. When someone's calls me Rudnick, they're usually just because I've done something rude,
Right.
and then I try to see the error in my ways.
Yeah,
And,
going back to that DNA thing, like that is very I've thought about it too, but that's very, I don't know. Like
it's a little big brothery, it's like,
right.
oh, okay. Now
What more do
like,
you
what
want?
what do they want our DNA for? Am I going to be cloned in the future when the Clone Wars begin?
Right. See, because like on one hand, I struggle. Like ultimately, I know the end result is death, and okay, so then I'm gonna die and whatever. That's fine.
Sure.
I won't be here anymore. So this is all just temporary, right?
Mhm.
So even this is not mine to keep. So then part of me is like, well, then just send your DNA off,
Yeah.
because I'm sure it helps something. I don't know what it helps, but
To get in touch, yeah, with one's past, with one's roots.
right. But I'm sure there's some other benefits to it that they want to, use it for, like you said, the Clone Wars or whatever. But yeah, like that. But then I am a human, and I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm now. I'd like to think I'm going to be here for some time, and I'm not
Mhm.
cool with just here's my stuff,
Yeah, and I think the the LDS Church, the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons own one of the major companies. Not to get not to start going down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but
Oh,
let's
no, I
do
love
it.
it. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I have a podcast, like one of the like main rabbit holes I went down a few years back was the Scientology rabbit hole.
Sure.
Oh my Lord. I talked to so many people that were, in and that got out, and
Oh wow.
that's a whole thing right there.
Yeah, and out here in Los Angeles, you got to be careful. If you're if you're in mixed company, you want to make sure that you're not yeah, offending a potential, or I don't know. It's yeah, it's definitely this looming specter. It's interesting.
And a lot of people obviously in the film industry are into it. And did you ever interview
Yes,
anyone?
I think less and less. I only encountered a guy at an audition once that was, and oh, actually, there was, there are also like some acting schools where they're rooted in it, and like hearing people that were taking classes at these acting classes talk about it, I was like, oh, very interesting. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I probably will not take a class there.
But like, did you ever interview like Cruise or Travolta?
Well, I got to go to Paris for the Mission Impossible, which was it, Ghost Protocol or
That
what
was
was the
like
one with
what,
Henry Cavill?
2011? Oh, is it Fallout?
Fallout, yeah. And I got to interview everyone except Tom Cruise. So, for all his faults, I think he's a pretty great actor and movie star. He's a good action star, a good movie star. I have a lot of respect for Tom Cruise in that regard. Yeah, I probably would have stayed away from the Xenu questions.
Well, they probably tell you, right? Don't even bother.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes you get a list of like things you shouldn't ask, or I usually, when I would do many of my movie junkets, I like to say stupid shit because that was I want to do something that's entertaining to me as well. And many times, or at least a couple, I've had the publicist. So my arm is on the chair. I have had a publicist pulling at my arm, saying, "Ask about the movie." Because I was going down some stupid, weird rabbit hole with a comedy bit that I was trying to do during the interview. But I don't know. I want to make it, not the same thing that they've experienced time and time again in the movie junket, because they're sitting there in that room all day with people asking them the same questions of what was it like to work with this director, etc. Some people are better at it and they're able to make it much more engaging. There are a lot of talented interviewers out there, but then sometimes it just feels very much the same. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was Cillian Murphy who recently said that. I saw something like he was talking to the Variety or like the Hollywood Reporter. He said something like, I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
press junkets are kind of like he thinks they need to evolve past what they just like how you described just now. Like,
Yeah, they say, there's another old acting quip that says making the movie is the fun part, doing the promotion is the work,
right.
especially for an actor. So,
I'm
yeah,
sure like the first 2 or 3 are probably very just, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh my God, my dreams have come true. By the time you
yes,
get to your ninth or 10th or 11th, you're probably like,
yeah. At a
okay,
certain point, it's like,
here we
okay,
go.
here we go through the rigmarole again.
Right. Yeah.
And those are long days. They're sitting in those press junkets in a room at a, it's usually at some fancy hotel, and they have the room all set up with the, backdrops and chairs and everything, and the cameras set up, and then, they are going through just dozens and dozens of interviews in a day.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so that was the answer to the Rudnick part of the first question. The second one, this one's kind of a little broader here, but I am curious because you were on movie fights, and like you
Mhm.
said, you were also a part of TV fights, which was a
Offshoot for Screen Junkies Plus for a
right,
while.
right, almost ahead of its time with the like the spin-off thing that's
Yeah.
just like we're inundated with spin-offs now, but the question is, are you a bigger fan of film or television?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um,
If one could stay and the other just kind of vanishes from Earth.
oh man, I mean, okay, let's devil's advocate this. So, if it's, like going to a movie is an event that is special to me still.
Right.
I love going out to the movies, but currently, I have, uh, I have a wife and a baby. It's hard to get out as much. Uh, when we have a 6.5-month-old baby here.
Wow,
So
congrats.
thank you. It's amazing. It's exhausting and surreal, but magical and wonderful. Yeah, we're really lucky. And but TV is, it's there for you whenever you want it, and you can watch movies on TV. And and there's so much TV. I don't know if I'll ever get through watching every show that I ever want to watch. Oh, but there's something special about going to a movie. This is so hard, such a hard question. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to go movies. I'm going to do it because there's something special about just going to the cinema, being in that experience, and without TV, I'll get more reading in. So that would that's the answer I'm going to go with today.
So the interesting thing about that is, and I'm curious if it's the same out in LA, right? LA.
Yes.
I'm curious if it's the same out in LA. We're in Savannah, Georgia here. Some
Hmm.
of our theaters show like a season of a show, 3 episodes in the movie theater.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a I've never heard of it. It's called The Chosen. I think it's going back to not Scientology, but just like a religious uh
Okay.
kind of
Hmm.
show. And but it's a show that I did some research on. It's on its 4th season or whatever. And our AMC is showing 3 episodes. So I guess you sit down for 7 hours or something,
Yeah,
and you're just watching your show on the big screen.
that's wild.
And it's insane because there was never like just a few years back probably like you would never have thought you would see your one of your favorite shows if it happens to be The Chosen on the big screen where you can just pick, buy a ticket, sit down and act like you're watching a movie, but you're just watching a show. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's interesting.
so it's like where is it going from that point is where I'm getting at. Like are we just like is that what it's going to be? Like we can watch The Walking Dead at some point on
maybe, every couple of, every 6 months or so now they talk about, you'll see an article about the state of the movies after the pandemic. So
right.
are they back completely? Did Barbenheimer bring movies back completely? And then, oh, is there a drop in the box office? What are the a lot of movie revenue has been lost, and people don't go out as much. Also, we're in a weird compartmentalized world when it comes to entertainment. As as well as I, they, uh, you know, if you talk to Gen Z, they are less interested in movies and a lot of TV than their favorite TikTok creators or Twitch streamers or YouTubers. So it really is just a weird, frayed landscape there. So if if showing like mini marathons of TV shows would help revenue, yeah, I don't see why not.
Yep. Yeah. That was
And
just a
then
while.
especially if it's like an event, like if you know this is totally different, but I think merits mentioning in the conversation. Like you take something like the Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark. Like I was a big Sopranos fan. Like I mean, that could have been something for TV, or they did a Breaking Bad movie, the movie I think it was El Camino,
Yep.
with
Yep.
Jesse Pinkman's escape and everything. So like if that was in the theaters, like it ended up being on TV, or what was it, Netflix?
El Camino was, yeah.
Yeah, El Camino was Netflix. But if it was in the theaters, I would have gone. So you're starting. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. I mean, that could have just been a special 2-hour television Breaking Bad event, or on AMC, or that. So yeah, it just depends. I think that's interesting, and they're talking about having to remake these business models, and how are they going to get people that much more excited for the movies? Are they going to have to make the movie theater different? Are they going to have to go further with IMAX and sensory experiences? So yeah, a lot of questions there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if they did that, how they do, there's a thing called flashback cinema. Like if they did a thing called flashback television, and just
Mhm.
like, did like we're going to show 3 episodes of Full House on the big screen, I think I would go.
I mean, that'd be fun. I think if it was that, they'd have to make it a little bit like Rocky Horror, make it an experience where you can be a little looser in the theater with
Right.
your friends, if you're kind of this throwback TV thing.
Or you could do it like The Room. I went to a showing with
Yes,
Greg Sestero, and I mean, obviously, the thing, right? You throw the spoons.
yes, yes.
Yep, that was, and these were 2 spoons that landed. They hit me and Haley, my girlfriend and co-host. They hit me in the back of the head. So I was like, oh, perfect. We'll take these as a souvenir.
Yes, there you go. Free souvenirs.
But yeah, something like that. You have to kind of make it a little more but isn't that sad at the end of the day where it's just I'm a big fan of just 2D. I mean, obviously I love big screens, but some of the theaters we end up in at our AMC, depending on the
Mhm.
movie, they might be as big as one of our walls in this house. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's not as that's not a super big screen, but it's bigger than
Oh,
the
sure.
TV. It's bigger than
Yeah.
the TV, so I'm fine with that, but there is a lot of people that they need the reclining chairs, they need the full service of food.
Oh, yeah, you get a lot of, more and more of these theaters,
Gimmicks,
taking the cue
gimmicks.
from the Alamo Drafthouse, being able to order food at your seat. I went to the Alamo Drafthouse in Los Angeles, last year for the first time. Uh, yeah, but I'm a fan of just, popcorn, getting a soda. I don't drink a ton of soda, anymore, but, I do when I go to the movies,
Right.
and, I like the machine that has all the choices, and then you can get the flavors.
Freestyle.
I like, Cherry Coke Zero. Cherry Coke Zero is my jam.
I'm telling you, I mean, it's sort of give or take. With Coke, you're getting high fructose corn syrup. With Coke Zero, you're getting aspartame, so I guess you're
Yes.
screwed either way.
Yeah.
But I am a fan of Coke Zero as well. I am a
Yeah.
fan. Lately, though, not to go off on a little tangent here, this is a Coke brand, actually. This is called AHA,
Okay.
and it's sparkling water.
Sure.
And I was never a big sparkling water fan because I could always see through the fakeness of
Mhm.
all it is water and some flavor. I don't know. Something about this is it's just it's and I think it is because it's the Coke company.
Yeah.
Uh, Something about the flavor is just it works better and it stays on your tongue better. I don't know. It's
Okay, so is it, I mean, would you say it's similar to LaCroix?
I haven't had that one. I've had bubbly. I've had some Target brand, and
Yeah.
then I think this
Well,
one. I've heard of
there's one
LaCroix
called
though.
Spindrift.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, LaCroix kind of blew up out here, and my wife's a big fan of the sparkling water, and
Yeah.
uh, I enjoy it. I'll have one now and again, but I'll be on the lookout for AHA.
Aha. I'm
What's the
telling you.
sugar content? So is it zero sugar?
Oh yeah. There's nothing in here. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not, but uh maybe it will. This camera's dodgy. No, it's not focusing. Okay. Yep. It's there's nothing in here. It's all zeros.
There you go.
It's even zero. It's just literally carbonated water and natural flavor.
Eddie,
So
I'm a fan of, listen, guilt-free snacking. If it's guilt-free snack, love it. I love
well,
snacking, but I also love guilt-free snacking.
because we literally just signed up for the AMC A list, which is that thing that gives you the 3 movies a week kind of
Yes.
deal, and that's
Yeah.
great. I love that. But then I think on our 3rd trip, we realized, okay, we can't just every time we come here 2, 3 times a week, we can't have a soda and popcorn. Like what's gonna happen to us?
Yeah.
So I think that's what turned me on to the sparkling water. I was like, I gotta balance it now.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of
So
movie theater snacks.
I'm telling you. But this is a deep question. So like you thought this was deep. Here we go.
Okay.
Where will Hal Rudnick be in 6 years? So that puts it at 2030.
Ooh, wow.
2030, where do you see yourself, your wife, and your child?
Hmm. So I will be, in some sort of as a part of some sort of exercise regimen to be able to keep up with my 6-year-old and
Right.
yeah, make sure I'm able to chase her around and um, uh, be able to run around amusement parks and playgrounds, etc., with her, and hopefully just doing more of the same. I've been very fortunate for the past, uh, you know, 20 years or so that I've just been able to work in entertainment, and I'm doing a lot of writing right now. Uh, in addition to some of the hosting and performing that I mentioned. And so 6 years from now,
2030.
in addition to being a parent and continuing on and hopefully being, just, in addition to being a good father, a good husband, or at least halfway decent, um, I hopefully will be performing a solo show, which I have a show that I'm writing currently, and uh, fortunate enough to be able to perform in front of crowds. Still, I love performing in front of a live audience, and uh, being able to just count my blessings in those areas with family and being able to do something that I'm passionate about. And then, literally, physically, where will I be? Well, let's see how the next election and everything after that turns out, and we'll see if what the state of the world is.
Beautiful. The reason I like to ask that is because, obviously a year from now, if we don't talk about something that extends past that year, this particular show is already dated. So
Mhm.
uh we're good for at least till 2030. this
Yes,
this covers until 2030, and then afterwards, then the show's dated, I guess.
gotcha.
Um
So yeah, this show has a good shelf life.
um no, like, isn't that weird to think 2030 is just 6 years away? Like, 6 years is not that long. Like, just 6 years ago was what, 2018, something like that,
Wow, and the pandemic made everything kind of fly by.
right?
So
I'm telling you.
uh, yeah, it is kind of crazy to think, but the older you get, the faster time moves.
Oh, 100%, 100%. If you don't mind me asking, what is your number currently?
I'm 49 years old.
You look great, man. You look great.
Thanks. Yeah, moisturize, drink water, and
So
exercise.
you just turned 49, or you'll be 50 this year?
I'll be 50 this year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but yeah, just a number, just a number.
One of the things, so I'm going to pop this question off. One of the things I was taken aback by, and I mean, it just made sense because I
Hmm.
mean, I've talked to a lot of people that, I've either watched for however long, and I've talked to them like how I'm talking to you, or even one-on-one in person, and 9 times out of 10, they're not what you saw on the screen, right? They're not they're not doing whatever they did on the screen. And for a while there, it always threw me off. I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, for some reason, I wasn't able to realize that there's no physical way, emotional way that you could sustain anything like that. And obviously, you're one of the more, if anyone checks out movie fights, you're one of the more energetic people that
Yes.
were that was on that show. And you've had just like so far, you've given me what I would equate to like a Robin Williams 1 hour photo. But like not in a bad way, not in a creepy
That's extremely creepy.
no, 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 no. But like, you know what I'm getting at, right? You know what I'm getting at.
A lot more low key.
Subdued,
Yes.
subdued. Because I was like, again, back to that clip. Just a few seconds prior to that clip, I think you were, going on and on and on and doing all this stuff. and now you've been very calm the whole time.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to make it more conversational. But Eddie, if you want me to shift gears and flip it up a notch, I can do it. I can do it, my dude. Oh yeah, let's turn this motherfucker inside out.
I love it. See, that's what I remember watching, dude. That's I'm telling you, there's so much.
Eddie, what is your favorite movie of all time?
If you're legitimately asking, it's Spike Jonze's Her from 2013.
Wrong. You want to talk about a dystopian future? You want to talk about a movie where technology gets in someone's head and turns them around and manipulates their brain, and that's the movie? No, okay. I enjoy Her.
I enjoyed Her.
But yeah, no, I would definitely, you know, and then when I'm on stage doing comedy, I flip the switch and go hard, and
you have to.
yeah. Or when I'm hosting the Screen Junkies show or the movie fights, it was very upbeat and energetic, almost a little too like always a smile on my face. Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to thanks for watching Screen Junkies. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Bye bye.
Yep.
All that stuff. And I love that. It was definitely of its time. I feel like that style, like like a lot of people ended up like kind of like jumping on that kind of style for their like movie videos and stuff like that. I think there were a lot of copycat shows and stuff, and people said they were inspired by the show, and I think that's super awesome. But it also, some of the stuff we did then, I think was a little dated. I think I would, if I was going to do it again, I would be a little bit more subdued and straightforward and pick and choose my spots with the energy. Someone made a rude comment on Twitter, which listen, don't read the comment sections. They say I'm a glutton for punishment sometimes, but he was like, I don't know, something about Hal Rudnick reminded me of like Vine videos from 2009 or something, and but yeah, it was fun, but it would be hard for me and feel extremely unnatural if I kept that energy amped for the entire conversation.
Right. Well, what's funny is because when I had that clip ready to go and I was pulling it up here from the Does the Hobbit Suck episode,
Yes.
season 1, I did scroll just to see I always like to look at what's that very top comment. You know what I mean? I love to see what's that top comment. And I think on this episode there was a format style where it shifted, right? Because Jeremy Johns was like a guest of honor. So all of you were kind of taking turns coming up and doing one battle at a time. And I think someone in the top comment on that particular episode right now, I think it says something like, "This is the worst episode of Movie Fights solely for that." And I'm like, if anything, that's a genius move, just shifting the format. You know what I mean? And movie fights went through so many. Like if you go back to how I went back to that very first episode,
right?
Man, like that's like going back to Full House. That's like watching the very first episode of Full House, and it's like, what was this? What was this? and then it just went through so many, just like that Saw 6 trap.
Yeah, different incarnations, a couple different hosts, and also, there was when I first started hosting it, we rebranded it, and there were 2 podiums that we I don't know if you remember that brief
Jeopardy style,
Jeopardy style, but with only 2 contestants, and everyone's like, "Bring back the old style," and bring back the old format. So we bowed to the YouTube, the power of the YouTube commenters.
Right.
and brought back the old style.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, it's
Hoot
I think
hoot 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 Owl Nation. Do you remember that?
that one I'm not familiar with.
When I was hosting, I started to um, I wanted to have some sort of weird club or like shout out that was meaningless. That
So
was
that's
just
what you
like
did.
kind of an inside joke amongst fans, and this owl thing became part of my shtick.
Yeah, for some reason, like when I think that is like if I were to put on a shirt, like the one of the greatest things you've ever said would probably be even a man in jail can smile once in a while.
Yes, that was a proud moment. I also loved my argument for when I was talking about the Halle Berry classic Catwoman
Okay.
and uh, the uh, the French director of the movie. I think his name is Piotr. Oh, now I have to look that up. Who the heck? Uh,
See, this is where I should have had Dan Merle as like a quick fact checker, pop up. Hey Dan, can you fact check that real
oh,
quick?
Pitoff. His name is Pitoff.
Pitoff. Okay.
Yes, he's a Frenchman who directed Catwoman, and I was talking about when Pitoff was a boy growing up in rural France. He had a dream to make a movie about the classic villain Catwoman, where she played basketball, and I just got
You just go
very
off.
intense, and yeah, when I'm got on my soapbox about this silliness.
That's incredible. No, I mean, I'm kind of going through it chronologically right now. I think I'm on season 2 or 3 at this
Hmm.
point. It's just sort of it's like how they like a lot of the cast members of Full House. Like I don't know if you can tell, it's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I've gotten to work with a couple of the Full House folks.
no joke, no joke.
Yeah, Candace Cameron Bure. I was in a faith-based film with her. Um, Jodie Sweetin, I've gotten to do live comedy with. She was super cool. I've gotten to do a couple of shows with her, and I was in a pilot with Dave Coulier a
I was gonna
long
say,
time ago.
you seem like you would have crossed paths with Dave Coulier, if anybody, just because he does the
Cut it
stand up.
out. Cut it out. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. But like how he describes and a lot of them describe Full House as like video comfort food. That's essentially how I view something like movie fights. It's just like video comfort food. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That's what
And,
it is.
that's really nice. Like, the fact that you say that, one of the lovely things about being able to do something like the movie fights and screen junkies that got a lot of views from folks, um, people have told me like how comforting it was. And I've had people tell me that the content has gotten them through some rough periods, like being able to like, you know, hang out and watch this stuff. And a lot of the vibe that we were putting across is like, oh, you're hanging out with your friends, shooting the shit about pop culture. And that's something I love. Like you had mentioned my show, Tournament of Nerds, and which I host. We've been doing that show for 15 years. It's wild. Uh, the, um, like I feel very fortunate being able to, talk about stuff that I love, and but having people respond to it in that way, like that's really fulfilling, satisfying.
Yeah, I mean that has to kind of make any downfalls, any pitfalls, any kind of speed bumps along the way. That like ultimately, I think that would make it all worth it in retrospect
Yeah,
when you look back on it. Um, Kind of taking everything that we've talked about with the Screen Junkies thing and how you said it, like it's gone through multiple different owners and now it's fandom, and literally if you go on the channel now, all it is honest trailers.
yeah.
What was the and obviously we're I talked to Hal previously about this. We're not going to go into the whole controversy that happened, I think in 2017, 2018. with one of the people involved on Screen Junkies. But from that point on, like you said, it revamped,
Yeah.
and then it kept going for a little bit, and then around the pandemic, it all just kind of plateaued.
Yeah, because the pandemic, everybody, was working from home. We put everything on pause. Movie Fights was on pause, and then I think everybody was just reevaluating their business model and how to make things work during the pandemic. The unfortunate thing, or one of the unfortunate things that led to uh, Screen Junkies like no longer creating like host-based content. Well, part of it was I think fandom did not want that. They did not want that screen junk. They only wanted kind of honest trailers and the people involved and to use them a little bit differently. And then also, when we had this big turnover at the top, we were left with a bunch of people who wanted to program, like who wanted to be behind the scenes making the plans, but who also wanted to be on camera. And I think it was a lot of egos, kind of like, and not having one person being the creative decision maker. And
Right.
it just, yeah, I think the content took a hit. And but it was a great run. And we like I said, I got to do so much cool stuff uh, thanks to being a part of Screen Junkies and talk to and interview a lot of great people. And yeah, nothing but fun.
And
Like one of my favorite videos, I would say, and one of the great things I got to do, I got to make videos with my mom. They flew us to Miami for the world premiere of Ride Along 2, and my mom and I got to interview. Basically, it was her. I wrote the questions for her, and she killed it. We got to interview the cast, including Ice Cube and Kevin Hart, which was so damn fun.
that's cool. That's cool. I was gonna say, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility with how everything eventually, no matter what it is, movies, TV shows, video games, internet shows, at some point you would like to think, right? Or at least I would like to think there's even a possibility for something like Screen Junkies to get a reboot, right? To get a revamp, to get
Mm-hmm.
because there's, I mean, I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. There's so many people out there that love that stuff, that would call that like the classic Screen Junkies era, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the classic. Whatever it is now, I honestly couldn't tell you. I kind of watch every once in a while.
Yeah.
I love the host-based shows. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
the just endless honest trailers. But at some point, if it does get a revamp, would you ever see yourself being like, all right, let's do this again. Let's Fuller House this bitch.
To stay with the Full House analogies, yeah, I wouldn't say never. Like I was just, for a while, and the baby has put a pause on this, but I was hosting a podcast with my good pal Lon Harris from the Screen Junkies world,
I
who
remember him.
he
Yep.
is such a funny, knowledgeable guy. And I still have friends from that world. I just went to Dan Merle's wedding at the end of last year. I'm friendly with Joe Starr and keep up with a lot of the folks. So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing more just straight up movie oriented stuff, or even like Screen Junkies. But I think like the brand is owned by Fandom. I don't know if Fandom would necessarily want to do that. So I think the desire versus the reality are at odds a little bit there.
It's such a shame. Like it really truly is. And I know everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And
Hmm.
um it's like what Agent Smith says to Neo, everything that has a beginning has an end. Right?
There you go.
I mean, that's it right there. But hopefully this isn't the end for that era of Screen Junkies. If not even to do, because like do you feel like you had a proper like a true proper like let's seal this? Do you feel like it was proper, or was it just sort of like, oh shit, it's over?
The latter. No, it was definitely like, oh shit, or it's like, oh, I guess this is, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. Like I said, there was it became a little bit of a rudderless ship, and I, you know, like during the pandemic was a weird time, but I was I felt like I was ghosted. Like they just kind of shuttered the shop and like didn't contact a lot of employees as they were trying to figure out what was happening. So it was, yeah, it definitely ended weirdly. And additionally, the yeah, the communication wasn't a priority. So but the blame it on the pandemic. That was a weird time, and also they yeah, uh, maybe poor people skills. But from the beginning, as people don't realize, like a lot of people say, so Hal, when did you create Screen Junkies? I didn't create Screen Junkies. It was created by Andy Signor, who we who you had alluded to, and Brett Brett Weinberg or Weinbach. I'm sorry, blanking on his name, and they created it years ago with break.com. I was a hired hand, and I was like, for so long, I like, yeah, I was a freelance host. I wouldn't even get invited to some of the Christmas parties there. Like, it was so weird. I was like an afterthought for a long time, even though I'd be in there every week hosting the show. I was the first on-camera personality there. Uh, like they had honest trailers, but there was no like face or person hosting anything. So I was the first one to do that. And but it was like, since I wasn't in the office every day, like literally they would have holiday parties, and I wouldn't like be invited to the party, or I wouldn't get the memo when there was cake in the break room or anything like that for people's birthdays. So it was always just this weird part of it, but I'm also on the outside looking in, and I feel like that's how it was until the very end.
Wow. Well, there you go. I mean, in case anyone's wondering, myself included, I just wanted to kind of get those answers, because I wasn't even sure, if like you said, it was like it was just sort of, it's done. All right. Hope you
Yeah.
had fun. Hope you had fun with that.
And they brought in, and again, I got, I'm just thankful I got to meet so many cool people, and I got to bring in, friends of mine, like really funny people, and like, Mark Andraco and Mike Carlson, and different, Mike Carlson, who would always talk about that ET ride at Universal
Botanicus.
Studios. Yes.
Botanicus. I've been on that like so many times, and then I finally connected the dots. Like I was like,
Yes.
this is what that one guy on Movie Fights is talking about. This freaking
Yes.
guy right here, Botanicus.
So yeah, there are too many good times to recount, and with Nick Mundy, and yeah, just the whole OG crew. But it was, and like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to doing more like film-based pop culture hosting, which I do sort of with my Tournament of Nerds show, which is a little bit different, obviously. But yeah, it does also have the feel of like, okay, we've been down this road.
Right. Did you ever get familiar with John Schnepp?
I didn't have as much of a chance to work with him, but like I did a couple of times, and he was lovely, and it was just just tragic. Yeah, gone way too soon, and I mean, just a brilliant, kind, caring person, like a great fan and a pillar of the community, and yeah, very sad.
Yeah, and made, if anyone's not seen this documentary he made, like that was seriously, I would love to get a physical copy of it. I still collect movies, and that thing is like impossible to get anymore. It's very hard to get, but it's The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened.
Right.
And it's him, John Schnepp. He's the writer director. He interviews Tim Burton, Kevin Smith. I forget the producer that was going to be on there. There's footage of Nick Cage as Superman. It's such a great documentary, and yeah. But just like hearing you go through the names, I was wondering, wait, did you ever get close with John Schnepp? Because I know he made a couple appearances. I've already seen one of them.
No, I was very fortunate. Again, one of the great people, one of the talented people. So many, yeah. I mean, and John, he's a legend, and he's, just one of the saddest occurrences I've seen in the, in that community, because he was just a beautiful human being on top of a brilliant individual. But yeah, that, not to wax too cliche, Eddie, but it's the friends we made along the way.
It is.
Like, I got to see Danielle Radford at Dan Merle's wedding, and she's just so lovely and wonderful. My pal Mark Ellis, he's fantastic. I love Mark. There's too many cool people who are just down to earth, sweet, lovely, and passionate about pop culture, which I think is, brings us all together. And that's, talking about, like earlier, what gets us through these low moments, like as screen junkies there. Pop culture is there for all of us. Like, how many times has, just being able to connect with a show taken you or allowed you to forget about the momentary troubles or the whatever's kind of hanging heavy on your mind in life. Escapism, it's so important.
Speaking of escapism, I have two more predetermined questions, and then I do want to pull up some comments from the chat room that have been, they've just been stacking up, and I like to let that happen, let them get their chat in there, and then I think that should take us to about 90 minutes. So, and then we'll wrap it up. So, to go back to the escapism, this is potentially maybe I did want to have one question that was like, if any of these questions were a movie fight question, this is the one.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, maybe bigger fan, film or television. That, I mean, you could argue you even kind of went into a movie fights mood there.
I had to do some pros and cons there but yeah, how special movies is, I wouldn't want to lose that.
But this is definitely a movie fights question. So we're, in a way, just for now, we're revamping movie fights for tonight. Here we go.
All right.
Best movie so far of 2024.
Oh, so far of 2024. The year is so young. Okay. So thus far we're in
and thankfully this isn't a speed round.
Yeah. It's much harder to get out to the movies with our baby. So what was the last movie I saw in the theaters? Because I spent the end of the year, and even the last movie I saw was The Holdovers. So I could get into the 2023 Oscar race a little bit, but
okay. If you have to Google, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to 2024.
But this is what would go into movie fights, right? Like
yes.
A lot of people just think that you came up with all these answers on the spot, and that was the speed round. You would come up with the answers on the spot, but the main topics you had time to prepare.
Oh yeah, we'd get them. Okay. I'm as much as I want to, I'm not going to say Madam Web.
We're seeing that tomorrow.
I heard that could be a fun, intentionally bad or just ironically bad movie watch. If you take it in that respect, I hope you enjoy it more than it's purported to be. The yeah, mm, mm,
It
mm.
is it is only just what, 2 months of releases, so it
Yes,
is very slim pickings, isn't it?
it is. It is. And I haven't seen Argyle. I haven't seen Lisa Frankenstein. Uh, I didn't see um, Bob Marley, One Love. So the best movie of 2024. I'm looking at the list here, and I'm going to say,
Nothing.
yeah. I mean, such slim pickings. Okay, you know what? Let's go with it's a three-way tie between the Jason Statham and the Beekeeper.
Okay,
One of my favorite actors, Lakeith Stanfield, in The Book of Clarence,
okay,
and Mean Girls the musical.
okay. Out of those 3, I've only seen 1, The Beekeeper, and that was one of the biggest surprises of 2024. I thought that was insanely entertaining.
Uh, you know, it feels like Jason Statham's able to make these like little movies where he's a guy with a particular set of skills and he has to exact revenge on someone, and he's pretty good at that. Although I will say, Jason Statham, one of the most unpleasant junket interviews I've ever had to do. Uh,
Really?
yeah, he took himself a little too seriously, and I went in with a very stupid premise, so I can't blame him for being. Do you remember the movie The Mechanic?
Oh, of
With
course, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
with him and Ben Foster.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, so I went into the junket for The Mechanic wearing a big fake mustache and wearing
No.
a Dickies work shirt and being like,
Oh,
"Hey
man.
guys, I'm a mechanic. I'm an auto mechanic. I fix cars." And I thought this movie
No.
was going to be about mechanics, and it wasn't. So tell me, was there any thought about making auto mechanics and having a grease monkey in the movie? And Jason Statham was like, "What are you going on about?" Like he was but I kept I kept the energy up.
Wow. I mean, that deserves a round of applause in terms of ballsiness, though, you know?
Thank you got to go for it. You got to lay it on the line for the joke or the laugh. When it comes to comedy, and you got to embrace the idiocy. You got to run towards the door with the neon light. That's blinking stupidity,
Again, I'm just like,
and go for it.
the way my mind works is that you wouldn't have like, and I guess clearly not, but I just would have thought you wouldn't have even been allowed to do something like that. Like
Yeah,
there
they
would
don't want you to. A lot of times it was like a surprise. Like I did a junket for Anchorman 2,
okay.
and it turned out so bad that we had to change the whole format of the video we were going to make for Screen Junkies, and it became, instead of a celebration of Anchorman 2 or the Anchorman 2 and Christmas Spectacular or something we were going to do along those lines, it was like, here's a cautionary tale of what not to do when you're making a movie junket. And because it was really just so many ideas shoehorned into this thing, and it really, like, poor Christina Applegate. I was trying to make her like prepare some food in the middle of a junket because I was trying to make like Christmas cookies or something.
Oh my
Yeah, I had sing-alongs, I had act outs. I asked Will Ferrell and Dave Keckner to sit on my lap. It was bizarre.
It seems like maybe one of the only shows, because I mean, like maybe a press junket is not necessarily the best place for that, even though you did it like
Yeah.
major props. Like, it seems like maybe one of the only truly loose shows nowadays is Hot Ones.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Hot Ones, celebrities go in there and they know they're laying it on the line.
Right.
Like I got to do some. I mean, again, the cool stuff. Like I interviewed Judd Apatow in the cast of This Is 40, and I brought in 40s. So we were drinking 40s, and then in an homage to the 40-year-old virgin, I had them wax my legs.
Oh my God. Did you yell Kelly Clarkson? Please tell me you yelled Kelly Clarkson.
I did. I yelled out different American Idol winners.
Clay Aiken.
Yes, exactly. And you should have seen Leslie Mann, Judd Apatow's wife. She got so excited when she was like, "You want us to wax you?" Yes.
Yes.
And Paul Rudd was sitting right next to her, and he was like, "Okay."
That's amazing. That's
It
so
was
good.
it was a blast. That and like that was really memorable. And then again, the Ice Cube Kevin Hart I got to do with my mom. If I could relate one moment from that to you, which
Yeah,
is one of my
absolutely.
all-time faves, because I wrote the question and my mom delivered it like a champ. So we were sitting there with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart, and my mom said, "Ice Cube, previously you had a song." I know I cursed earlier. Is it okay to curse on here, Eddie? Okay. Previously you had a song, "Fuck the Police," and now in this movie you play a policeman. What happened? And Ice Cube cracked up laughing. He's like, "You let your mom say that?" And then he's like, "Okay, what happened?" "Well, my mom washed my mouth out with soap." And
Is that on? Like, is that filmed or is like is that?
that's on YouTube. Yep.
Oh my God, I gotta look that
Yeah,
up.
the Ride Along 2 junket. My mom was a champ, and again, it was really one of the best times. And my mom and I did a series of videos where we watched movies together that a parent and child probably shouldn't watch together. We watched The Human Centipede,
Ooh.
and we watched a couple of the 50 Shades of Grey movies. Very
Ooh.
uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
Some
Oh,
good
man.
cringe content.
Have you ever seen a Serbian film?
I've heard of it. A lot of people were suggesting that because I was asking, I was asking social media, what film should my mom and I watch that you would never want to watch with a parent, and that film came up many times. I have not sought it out to.
Yeah. We watched it not that long ago.
And
Well, it's streaming on like Tubi and stuff, and they
okay,
only have the R-rated version. So we watched the R-rated version. There's an uncut version that I can't believe I'm saying this, I would like to watch.
yes,
Like, that movie is so just nothing. It's such a nothing movie.
yes,
It's so crazy how much nothing is in there.
sure,
But it is so just like what, like, why am I, like, if I said this before, but like if I walked up to someone on the street, how you asked me, what's your favorite movie of all time? If they said a Serbian film, I would literally, like, I'm pretty sure I'd call the police. Like, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I would be like, what, how is that your
Just
favorite?
murder and gore.
It's all that, but I mean, it like it deals with the adult industry and just like there's like the ending of that movie is just insane in all the wrong ways. So,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
that would be amazing if you watched it with your mom.
Oh boy.
So
Maybe we'll have to have a comeback, like you were talking about. That's the comeback Screen Junkies video we're looking for, Eddie. We found it.
Serbian film.
Hal and his mom watch a Serbian film.
To a total 180. So okay,
Yeah.
so best movie, you did a three-way tie.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of these movies because there hasn't been anything that has called to me yet where it's like you must go to the theater.
Right. There is a movie right now playing with Liam Hemsworth and Russell Crowe called Land of Bad.
Okay.
another one, like if I had to make a list of the biggest surprises so far of this year, it
Yes.
would be The Beekeeper and it would be Land of Bad. That movie
Gotcha.
just came out of, like, I had no expectations just because now I can see any movie I want. I'm just sort of going to movies, you know?
Right.
And that just was like, wow, this is
The Land of Bad.
Land
look
of Bad. Yeah, it's like
You know,
it's a war action thriller.
mm,
And Russell Crowe plays a guy who sits behind a computer desk and is involved with the aerial,
drones.
like the drones. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's real shit. Um,
And
I'm thinking about my answer from before, movies or TV. I think I have to change it to TV because, just judging by the fact that I haven't seen I haven't been to the theaters to see any new releases, besides like Oscar contenders.
right. But I mean, you have a perfectly viable
Yes, a six and a half
viable?
month old baby is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best excuse for getting
That
out of
is
plans and everything,
that's like
and the most adorable excuse.
that's maybe the second best excuse. The first best excuse is what James Corden said he misses being able to say, where people invite him to stuff and he says,
Yeah.
I have a show. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's one more good excuse. I've talked with a couple of people about this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the best excuse." Explosive diarrhea.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Well, yeah, like even if you don't have it and you want to get out of something, no one's going to question you about that. No one's like, "All right, really? Give me a blow by blow description."
Right. And I don't know, do you drink a lot of Starbucks?
I do.
There's a new drink at Starbucks that literally they infuse it with extra virgin olive oil.
Wow.
It's called Oleato,
To help
to kind of help, like push
smooth
everything
move.
along.
Yes.
So, yep.
Good
Yep.
to know. Good to know.
And on that note, one final question. And if you ever watched the phenomenal interview show Inside the Actor's Studio,
Yes.
this is you might recognize this question.
Mm.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Hal, you've been a mostly good person in the scheme of things. Come on in, and there's all the peanut butter you could ever want waiting for you.
That was applause, right? That was applause.
Yes.
Okay, because I can't hear it. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I always loved how
hopefully
he
the
would.
ledger.
What was that?
Hopefully the ledger is is the good outweighs the bad, and there's just plenty of snacks, and also maybe some. I wouldn't mind seeing some loved ones.
Yeah. But I always loved how he would end that show. Like anytime
Yes.
he would interview a actor, that would always be the last question James Lipton would ask. And I don't know, it's just always been like, if I ever do something where I'm talking to people that are in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form in the entertainment industry, I want to try to, obviously give credit where credit's due.
You are.
Yeah. But give credit where credit's due. This is 100%.
Yeah.
I did not come up with this
Oh
question.
yeah.
That's a James Lipton thing right there.
Totally.
All right.
Will
So
Ferrell does a great James Lipton, by the way, on Saturday Night Live.
he does a great Trebek too.
Oh yes.
Oh my God,
Sure.
I loved him as Alex Trebek, and it's really not even him doing Alex Trebek. It's just he looks like Alex Trebek, and he's just doing a deadpan kind of Will Ferrell voice.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, let me see here. I just want to say hello to anyone that this was earlier than we typically go live. So
Gotcha. Thank you for I'm on the baby schedule here.
No, totally, 100%. But we do have some people tuning in here, just saying hello there. Happy Monday, says Movie Collector.
Hi, Movie Collector. Hi, Adrian.
This was directed at me, but I've already answered this question, so I'll throw it at you. 1, do you buy Blu-rays? And 2, have you bought Thanksgiving on Blu-ray?
You know what, Eddie, you're going to be disappointed in me, but I've gotten away from the physical media.
Okay. All right.
But I do buy movie posters from time to time, especially classic ones, and I buy movie. Yeah. I do buy movie T-shirts too. I'm wearing a Yorgos Lanthimos, and enjoy Coca-Cola, but it's enjoy Yorgos Lanthimos. This is from my friend Dempson Juvenile on Instagram. He has some very cool T-shirts. And then I recently bought a Heat T-shirt, Michael Mann's Heat, which is an all-time fave of mine.
Okay. So very, very sporadic with the movie shirts. You don't even, you're like, no Blu-rays, no Blu-rays.
No.
Now, when you got away from it, so at one point you did?
Just a little bit, like a lot of box sets or a few box sets of favorite shows, like The Wire was is one of my old favorite HBO shows, and then I also get screeners because I'm in the WGA.
Right.
So I do get some, but yeah.
Cool. Movie Collector. Hi Hal, which movie do you like better, The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Ooh, okay. Now that's a worthy battle. I think I'm going to go Lord of the Rings. It's tighter. It's just such a complete nugget. I got to go Rings, but Harry Potter is filled with joyous moments.
There we go. Awesome to have Zach Millen in here. Love Zach Millen. He says, super cool collab. Movie fights were my Saturday mornings as a teen.
Awesome. You know, it makes me feel, old, and besides me just being old and feeling old, but when people say, I grew up watching you, but now I really appreciate that. And I love it. And Zach, thank you so much for watching. No, that was so much fun. I don't think I realized how lucky I was at the time, just being able to chill with so many cool people, just shooting the shit about the stuff we love and having a great audience of fans. It was just an amazing time. And the people, in front and behind the camera, like my buddy Billy Patterson, who Billy Biz, he got in front of the camera sometimes, but he was just there's so many people that so lucky. And Zach, thank you for watching. Appreciate that a lot.
Isn't that that's the unfortunate, that's what I hate about, I guess, life in general, is that it's so genuinely hard to appreciate in the moment. It is it's maybe one of the hardest things to accomplish as a mortal being.
Eddie,
it only happens down that road, right? Where you're looking back on movie fights, I'm looking back on high school years, and
yeah, I'm trying to do that very thing with our 6-month-old baby, 6.5 months, just like relishing this moment of, she's never going to be this age, and just the baby stage is something that flies by. But it's just so adorable. And my wife and I look at each other and we're like, there is so much love in our home right now. It's, just being able to appreciate that. I think about that a lot. So I'm glad you, made note of that, Eddie. I appreciate that.
He continues on saying his favorite movie fights moment has to be drunk Ken Knapsack versus Dan Murrell on Brad Pitt's sexiness. When he nails Pitt's age, I lost it.
Drunk Ken Knapsack is a thing of beauty. And he's just a beautiful bastard altogether.
Oh yeah, no, he's great. He's great. One of our great moderators here on the channel is Laren.
Laren,
let me ask you something really quickly. If you look at this avatar, this little picture that is his profile, what do you think that is?
Is it like an MC Escher, or is it like some sort of H.P. Lovecraft vortex, or a wolf's eye? Is it a wolf's eye?
These are phenomenal things. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Laren, assuming you're still with us. That is a Reese's Pieces wrapper. Like like the inside, like that silver
Oh,
part.
the peanut butter cup. Reese's peanut butter cup.
Peanut
right?
butter cup. Yeah.
Yeah. Love Reese's peanut butter cup. Like I said, I want God to say there's plenty of peanut butter in heaven.
Yep. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Laren, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. For the longest time, I could never even guess what. To me, it looked like a broken, like a windshield.
Oh yeah, it does look like a shatter.
Like a
little bit.
cracked windshield.
Yeah.
Zach also says, by the way, Hal, your stun on AGT blew my mind when I saw you on there.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Laren says, I know Hal mainly from the Schmodown. Cool to see him here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Had a lot of good times on the Schmodown.
Yep.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know, you really have to get in like the movie trivia dojo and like memorizing facts and the Oscar winners and box office and like people take it, respect to those like who really go for it. Like I think I spent too much time playing fantasy sports to go. I'm like memorizing like the backup point guard for the Washington Wizards and the Charlotte Hornets, and so.
What if you had to really quickly? What was the harder competition, movie fights or the Schmodown?
For me, it was Schmodown because you just like your memory really has to be locked in, and you have to just digest so much movie knowledge. Whereas movie fights, I could sell that with passion.
Right.
A passionate argument can sometimes defeat the more well-reasoned argument.
True. See, I would have thought the Schmodown was easier because that's really ultimately just trivia versus movie fights. A lot of times you have to like pitch, you have to create.
I love that. I love that shit. Like that is my jam. Like acting out the movie. Picture this, if you will, in a universe where a stoic hero and an evil villain, like count me in for that.
Yep. Zach, I was very disappointed they cut your stuff on AGT. Yep, 100%.
Thank you, Zach.
He wants to know, is it true the judges really have no idea who is up next and what they're going to do?
Yes and no. I think they fudge a little bit, but no, but the judges are in the dark for the most part.
Cool. I mean, as they should be, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he also wants to know, who was the craziest screen junkie?
The craziest screen junkie.
Besides yourself.
You're looking at him.
No. You're the craziest. Who's
Nick
the second
Mundy?
craziest?
It was a very bright, and intelligent guy, and he played this. Like I loved his rants though on camera when he wanted to flip the switch. Like on the Screen Junkies show when he would come in and do a rant. Those were powerful. Like that was what like he brought so much just fire energy to the show. It was awesome. So yeah, Nick Mundy's right there. And he but then you'd have like we mentioned Mike Carlson and Botanicus. He brought like his very specific flavor. So yeah, a lot of interesting, fun personalities. But yeah, Mundy's a classic, and he had just so many epic moments.
100% did. You mean Dick Fundy?
You got it. Social media.
That was Adrian saying hey to everybody. And then we have Dell on Movies. What's up?
What's up? Dell.
And then we have my co-host who is not here right now, but she's in the chat. What it do?
Haley, sorry I did not get to meet you today. What it do?
What it do? I agree. The Death of Superman Lives is a fantastic doc. It's honestly, if I were to come up with like a top 10 favorite documentaries, I'm throwing in The Death of Superman Lives. It's
right on.
100% just like something you never knew you wanted, and then John Schnepp gave it to you. You know.
Hell yeah.
This is something that's. Oh, okay. Dell is saying Statham felt mocked at your thing.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. I was a very silly boy.
This is something Laren asks every guest. What is your favorite John Carpenter movie?
I think I got to go with They Live.
Well, now we're really upset Haley's not here. That's her favorite too.
I fucking love that movie. I love Roddy Piper. I got to meet and work with Roddy Piper 2 or 3 times before he passed away. Oh, and real quick, I guess he did a show at or near the theater where I do comedy, a lot of comedy, the Upright Citizens Brigade. I was at the bar next door afterwards, and this wasn't in it wasn't in my show, but I saw him sitting there, and I'm like, that's my favorite wrestler from when I was a kid. I got to go say hi. And I didn't get a picture with him. I do have a picture with him now, which I got like a year or 2 later. But so I went up to him. I said, I just want to shake your hand and let you know that I'm a huge fan. You are the man. And I shook his hand. I started to walk away. He grabs my shoulder and he says, "You're not getting away that easy." And he starts talking, and he's just like telling me a couple of stories. And then the last thing he said to me, Eddie, he asks, "So, are your parents still alive?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Tell them you love them because they go away."
Jesus.
Intense, but true.
Intense, but true. 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he took it to a soulful place.
Yeah, he didn't have to do that.
And that's the kind of guy he was.
Wow. That would be like, because going back to Full House, I was lucky enough to meet Bob Saget a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not a bunch of times. I met him once, but I saw him perform live 3 times total.
Sure.
The last time, literally in Orlando, less than 48 hours before he passed away. Is when I saw him last. So he performed at the Hard Rock in Orlando. I saw that show. We saw that show. He did a show in Jacksonville, Florida,
right,
the next night, and then he came back to Orlando, and that's where he passed away. But that would be like when I first got to meet him a few years prior in Jacksonville, Florida. That would have been like him like pulling me over and saying, "Your parents, make sure you tell them you love them."
Yeah.
Life isn't always like Full House.
True.
You know?
Good
Lord.
Yeah. That stuck with me.
I was going to say 100%, but you said you got a photo with him. So was it from that
later? This was like when I met him the first time, it was literally like maybe like 2009. Okay. And it was like before, like, you had good camera phones or anything. Right. So, but then a couple of years later, a buddy of mine directed a comedy video that he was in, and I was in that, and I got a picture with him. So,
okay,
he's a legend.
See what I'm talking about? Once we pass like 7:30-ish, that's when we're getting some more people pouring in here. But unfortunately, everybody, you're catching the tail end of the live show. But fortunately, it's going to live on YouTube now until YouTube decides to stop tubing.
Or for at least 6 years until that 2030 question comes to pass.
2030, that's the expiration. That's when I'm taking it down.
Yes.
No. And then, so just the last couple comments here. Drunk Ken is amazing. 100% he is.
Oh, yeah.
Reese's Cup foil. That is 100% that's what it is.
Boom.
We got, let's see here. They Lives Rules. Thanks for telling that Roddy Piper story. He's right about your parents. Give them a call.
Yep.
Thanks fans of something and Hal. This was great. See you soon. Have Hal back sometime.
I would love to, and anytime. I appreciate you asking me, Eddie.
Here's this is where I throw this in here, because you are like one of, if I were to think of who I think is like one of, if not the epitome of movie fights, it is 100% you, if not in the top 3. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of people on there.
Thanks, man.
So, and in line with how, you know, it kind of stopped and everything.
Yeah.
There is an idea in my head of doing a version of that and doing what I did with the James Lipton quote. And obviously 100%, this is a movie fights tribute thing, but it is something I'm brewing in my head to potentially do here on the channel.
Yeah.
So whether that involves maybe just having you as like a guest judge or something, I would love to have you back for something like that.
Please reach out. This was a blast, and like, you know, we all, like I said, we all share this fandom and this love of pop culture. So, unless it involves the movies of early 2024, which I is my blind spot right now. That sounds like fun. So don't hesitate.
Perfect. Thank you. So there you go, Laren. That is when that'll happen. But that's right now. It's just it's just I have to figure out all the logistics of that and everything. But would love to have you back for that. Caleb says, I loved watching Hal on Screen Junkies. He was a YouTube regular for me. So glad to see him again. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Caleb. You know, I'm doing great. I got a wonderful baby. I'm getting to, I've got a great wife, and getting to make comedy and have fun. So
there we go.
I'm pretty blessed in the scheme of things.
Tony's Movies and More saying hello. How's it going?
Tony!
Haley's saying this is Eddie's super fanboy episode.
By the way, Eddie, the baby is calling my name.
This is perfect. That was literally the last comment.
Yes.
So thank you for everyone that tuned in live, commented, joined along. If you're watching after the fact, thank you as well. Appreciate that. Check out those episodes of Movie Fights. I have them all linked down below. Hal is amazing in all of them. Just stick around really quickly. We'll do a formal goodbye, but we're gonna hang it up here. So let them know what you have going on in your life, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Thank you for being a gentleman and having me, folks. This was an absolute pleasure. You can find me on Instagram at Hal Rudnick, where I post all my live comedy shows and different things I'm hosting on TV and Roku, Pluto TV. I host a show called Fail Center and various podcast appearances. So yeah, if you're in LA, come see a live show. And Eddie, absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Peace. All right, everybody. We'll be back soon. And until then, there's one thing you have to do, and that is keep being fans of something.